Welcome to the Maritime Museum. This is Can AI Talk Whale? The fourth and final in our Big Blue Ideas series presented in partnership with the Minderoo Foundation. I'm Emily Jateff, the museum's Curator of Ocean Futures, and your MC tonight. Now, what do you get when you put an ARIA winner, a Eureka Prize winner, and a Telstra Queensland Businesswoman of the Year on stage together to talk about artificial intelligence and the future of our ocean? You, lucky audience, are about to find out. But before we get started, to set the scene for us, we need someone with a deep understanding of these issues. And so I would like to welcome to the stage author, scientific futurist, Global X Prize visioneer, and expert in cybernetics, Associate Professor Dr. Catherine Ball. Thank you.
So as a futurist, I have to try and throw balls around the room. And the first one I'll say is, can everyone remember about 10 years ago? I mean, the internet's been going a little bit crazy on the idea of 2016. So can everyone think about where they were in 2016? Now I want you to take that time and I want us to go forward, and it's 19th of February 2036. And I'm about to read you the news from the future. After a decade of AI-assisted bioacoustics, the International Court today has recognised certain cetaceans as legal persons, not as symbolism or as activism, but as evidence-based governance. And the groundwork was laid by projects over the last decade that already exist in perpetuity. Project SETI, CETI, spent years off Dominica building the largest high-resolution dataset of sperm whale codex in the world, combining underwater robotics, biologging tags, and machine learning to model the structure in whale communication. The Earth Species Project, just off of Dominica, began training foundation models for animal sounds, moving beyond species recognition towards generalizable bioacoustic intelligence. Then there was Google DeepMind with their dolphin Gemma-style sequence models that helped analyze dolphin vocal patterns, treating acoustic structure with the same seriousness as human language modeling. Meanwhile, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence Institute advanced their whale SETI, S-E-T-I, explicitly using whale communication as a methodological sandbox for recognizing non-human intelligence, whether in the ocean or in deep space. At the same time, Breakthrough Listen refined AI-driven anomaly detection across radio telescope data, applying similar pattern recognition frameworks at a cosmic scale. And here's what changed in 2036. It isn't perfect translation, it was interaction. In controlled playback experiments, a generated signal structured as identity plus proximity plus non-threat is emitted. The whales responded, then they modified, then they corrected, then they made a fart joke. The pattern stabilized across replications, identity markers persisted, dialect clusters held, social coordination signals aligned, and observed behavior was proven. At that point, the legal question became unavoidable. If a species can demonstrate structured communication, cultural transmission, identifiable individuals, and coordinated social decision-making, what exactly would possibly disqualify it from personhood? So now today, on the 19th of February 2036, shipping lanes are being redrawn. Military sonar requires acoustic consent zones. Ocean governance councils have been formed. But the real disruption isn't maritime. It's philosophical. We have kids learning the Gold Coast Migaloo sentence dialect in Gold Coast classrooms. Because once we recognize that non-human intelligence on Earth is legally real, SETI's premise for deep space stops being speculative. If we can detect structured intelligence in whales, we can refine how we search the stars. And if whales can qualify as persons by the 19th of February 2036, then the next question isn't just about oceans. It's about boundaries. What counts as intelligence? What counts as a person? And who or what could be next? Thank you.
I love you. You blow my mind. It's great. How was that for an intro, yeah? Everybody now terrified of whales? No. Now, this portion of the evening, I'm going to bring each one of the panelists up on stage for just a couple of questions to get to know them and their relationship with AI, and then we'll have a big panel event at the end. So, Catherine, I love reading your bio. You use such cool words like visioneer and scientific futurist. So I'd like to know, what is a scientific futurist?
Well, it's a terrible thing when you're a bit polymathic like me and you have a number of doctorates in various degrees, that if someone says to you, so who are you and what do, you start giving a soliloquy in Shakespearean fashion where you sound like a right dingbat by the end of it, to use a polite term. And so it's really difficult for scientists, I think, sometimes to name what it is that they do. And the word futurist is quite easily digestible by most folks. And so I thought futurist is a really good way to think about the predictive work that I do, though I'm Catherine Ball, not Crystal Ball. Thank you. So I try, like a lot of scientists and technologists do, to try and see what's coming over the horizon. But I do that with cybernetic frameworks and scientific frameworks. I don't do it just as guesswork or a way of journalistically referring in a derivative fashion as to what I see. I try to create new thoughts and new ideas and new propositions to how the world could be.
Well explained. Thank you very much.
Ding, ding.
And as someone who has a deep understanding of the challenges and opportunities that are present in the application of AI, how do you personally use
Well, I have to just ask everybody in this room, who is regularly using AI on a day-to-day basis? Who would say they use it once a week? Maybe once a month? Who's never touched an AI? There's always a couple, it's all right. I use AI for lots of different things. I've actually created a company using AI deepfakes to present and to do corporate engagement and to do public speaking engagements. So for example, if they want me in Frankfurt, but I'm in Las Vegas, they get my clone, whoever pays the lowest fee. And one of the reasons why I did that was because of all the deepfakes in the world, 80% of them are derogatory against women, children, or their pornography. And so how do I, as a woman of science and technology, take ownership of technology? I take ownership of technology. And so I'm working with a wonderful Tasmanian and Queensland-based Australian organisation called Mimic, who are Hollywood-style directors, like really proper Hollywood-qualified directors. And we're creating lifelike clones. And my next stage of this, which is yet to be released, is CathGPT, which you can ask me questions. And I feel like I need to launch in Mona in the ladies' lounge, though. I need to talk to Kirsha about that one, to talk about feminist scientific theory. But the idea, too, is I tried playing with that, not to be a coder on it, and I can write code, but that wasn't the point. The point was, how can I apply this? So then I did go into creating my own app. So I've created a travel app that I am yet to launch. And it's the idea that if you go to, I probably shouldn't say the idea, actually. So I've created one using Lovable, which is a really great platform for you to say, you might have a household budget or a weekly sports schedule when you need to work out your washing, or you might have a car that you need to manage a certain way. You can create an app that is your own personal family management app using something like Lovable. You can create a whole new way that maybe people who are of a particular language need to interact with government terminology. So Lovable's a great app. Another way I use it is I have two they're not co-authors, they don't create anything. I have two editors and research associates that I actually produced a publishing company. I actually created a publishing company on Tuesday, and I published a book yesterday.
Did you just say I created a publishing company on Tuesday?
Yes, I did. Yes, on Tuesday. I said to my husband, can I create another business? He went, yes, all right then. So I created a publishing company, and I've managed to unpick and unpeel how the publishing world works. And so I'm writing a number of books at the moment, and I published Future of Sleep yesterday, which you can pre-order for release on Kindle tomorrow. And I actually worked over that a number of months with two research associates overnight called ChatGPT Pro and Google Gemini Pro.
Yeah.
And they did not write a single word of that book. They did not have a single idea in that book. But when I was trying to figure out the origins of a certain form of microbe on the International Space Station, they were a really great research associate for me. So I am not afraid to do an AI. I have an AI declaration on all of my work to say, I am trying these tools, but ultimately I am in charge. They are not producing anything. I am using them to do the things that I want to do.
And that's the incredibly important thing to remember, is that it is human-driven at its core, and the human behind it is the one who makes the
is
decisions.
going to just kill us all or save us all. Yeah,
So
it'll be a human somewhere.
So what about the ocean then?
Yes.
So how are we using sort of AI generally in ocean management right now?
It's a really good question because you know what, a lot of things in the academic world, and we know this, it takes a long time for them to get published. It takes a long time for them to get produced. And so I only know from scratching on the edges of some of the work that I've seen from scientists actually involved directly putting things into the water. But we have historical data sets that people are using now to build this idea of change management. So how do you look at before and after change indices? How do you pick up the key markers or the warning signs that we're getting from the ocean that something might be wrong? And so we have to look back to the data. It all comes down to the data. So fisheries management have used data science and then were probably the earliest purveyors of artificial-based intelligence, because they have a financial value behind the fisheries. The deep ocean floor mapping that was the Ocean Discovery X Prize 10 years ago that I was a judge on, that's now seabed2030.org, which was probably going to be seabed2035.org when we think about it. They are using a lot of different multimodal techniques for the measurement of the seafloor at different resolutions. And so how do you get apples to talk to oranges? And one way is you produce a wonderful translation system inside an artificial intelligence. So it's really interesting seeing some of these large historical and contemporary data sets from the ocean being now analysed using these AI platforms. You have AI-enabled loggers. If I was to go really deep to it, we have cables all over the seafloor. Some of
we
those
just had some set up outside of Sydney.
We did.
Did anybody see that? Big ships off the coast?
Big ships laying cables, right?
So
So we're going to have more and more cables on that seafloor. Some of those cables have sensors on them that are so sensitive that they can pick up what kind of vessel and what kind of animal might be moving around them based on the way the water column is moving across the sensors.
So you can use them for multiple purposes.
You can use them for defense, you can use them for conservation, you can use them for oceanography and tides and swells and things. But there's always been because ocean data has always been so rich and diverse. It's been the place that the mathematics really started getting their teeth into these things. And so I think about David Mearns as the shipwreck hunter on the hunt for the HMAS Sydney in the 90s. And he had to go to the CSIRO and they had to do their ocean modelling and take it all the way back to the Battle of the Cormorant versus the Sydney, some 60 years ago, and then reenact where the currents might have taken her in order for him to find her.
Yeah, we still do that now.
You still do that now. So you see, that for me is the precursor of huge multimodal data sets in a confined system that we're parametric or we're guessing almost about slightly.
Generally, AI pro, anti?
AI's here and it's not going away. So you have to decide whether or not you want to be part of it or not, quite frankly. And I'm not about to go and live in a tree. I'm about to...
Excellent.
So I think that the key here we can't shy away from some of these technologies that are so powerful and going to affect every single one of our lives. We can't sit back and let the government regulate it. We can't sit back and let the companies make money from it. We have to get educated on it so we can tell our MPs how they represent us in Parliament when we want to start regulating these technologies. All I know at the moment is some of the disease research and drug discovery that's coming out of it from a human health perspective is mind-boggling, to the point where diseases that we thought we would never have cures for, we're now talking about having cures for. That communicable diseases we never thought we'd have vaccines for, we're thinking about having vaccines for. And so for me, AI has enabled us to have massive conversations, but I am going to put an asterisk. I don't think all of us are having those conversations. And it's not because we're necessarily illiterate, but it is because we don't know what the potential of the technology is. But we could learn and we could understand that. And our government here in Australia and many other governments around the world have not educated their populace about what AI is and what it could potentially mean, which means we don't know how to point and shoot at it.
Well, let's start that conversation tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, see you in a minute.
Now, please join me in welcoming to the stage award-winning comedian, author, actor, and radio presenter, Matt Okine. Welcome, Matt. Thank you. Now, Matt, you're famous.
Am I?
Yeah.
Depends who you ask, really.
But when it comes to AI, I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that you might be a bit of a normie like me in this space.
Yeah, I don't use AI. I'm really, I'm not scared of it. I'm untrustworthy of it, to be completely honest. In the arts, it's kind of like the enemy. It's this machine that kind of just takes things from you and doesn't necessarily give back as much, or the value that it gives back to you as an artist isn't necessarily as much. So I'm very conscious of what I put into AI, of what I want to give it, because my life revolves around the lie, the not truths. The things
like
that
to
never
phrase that
actually
as, like,
happened.
stories.
Yeah,
here.
but you know that's it. It's things that didn't happen. So anytime I put something that didn't happen into an AI, a bot or anything like that, there's the risk that it will learn it and then replicate it for when someone else wants to write a story. So, or it'll use my likeness to train a radio personality to sound like me and talk like me and tell jokes like me, which is what happens now. So there's a couple of companies at the moment who have been in a little bit of trouble for say the weather presenter is actually an AI bot. It's not a real person, or it's modeled off one news reader in Dubbo, and then they've made the same person all around Australia. Or there was a online digital radio station who didn't tell people they were doing it, but had a completely fake AI announcer announcing the songs and everything like that. So while the corporations are testing the waters to figure out how much people will accept, I'm not willing to feed it anymore at this stage.
I can understand that. Jobs. You think about that radio presenter who could have been the radio presenter.
Yeah, and I mean, look,
is that sort of
it
the
is,
driving
but
thing,
look, and at the same time, I completely understand the appeal of it. I always think of it the same way I look at, say, furniture or fast food. People are going to go for, they're going to eat McDonald's, or they're going to buy something from IKEA, and just because that is mass-produced, machine-driven, basically cut and print, robot-style making, doesn't mean that it's not of value, but it certainly means that it's not as valuable. Whereas the finely crafted, handmade piece of furniture from the guy in Italy who's been doing it for 80 years, it's going to be worth more to some people. And there's room for both of those things in this world. It's just, for me, the storytelling, I want my storytelling to be handmade, and I want people to know that it came from me and it was invented by me, not prompted by a million other me's around the world.
Excellent. You guys can duke that out later on this evening. Listening to Catherine sort of talk about this just blows my mind a little bit. And sort of, what would be your response to some of the things that she said in her 5 minutes there?
Look, to be honest, what I would really love AI to be able to do when it comes to the ocean is just tell me when there's jellyfish around. Like, that's all I care about. I hate jellyfish. I hate blue bottles. Every time I'm getting ready to go to the beach, if I walk down on the sand and I see a blue bottle on the water, I'm turning around, I'm going back. Like, I hate it. You know what I mean? I don't want to be yelling, begging to be on by someone stranger just because I've had a jellyfish slapped across my face. So like I hate that. So just tell me, tell me how I can know if there's jellyfish in there.
Safety.
That's it. That's all I want to know.
Help the human.
Yes. Or every time I look at, like, I go down to the beach and I see, I ask the lifesaver, like, what's going on here? And they're like, oh mate, can't you see? Yeah, there's obviously a very clear rip here. And I look, it's just ocean, man. I don't know what I'm looking. It's just water. I don't see a rip. So give me like an app where I can just like hold it up and I can see every single thing, and I'm like, oh, okay, I definitely won't go in there. That looks like a rip. But so those are the sort of things that I would love to see in AI and the ocean. Consumer level things.
Practical applications.
Yeah, and and just like a little chip in my board shorts that just goes, hey, shark, we cool. Like, I'm here, you're here. We don't need to duke it out, bro. Like, we're just let's both enjoy this together.
Be speaking shark language from your pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all. Just like a little, like it's just letting someone know.
I think that's fantastic. So what do you think? I mean, that's what you desire from AI, but when you think about AI in the ocean, like, what do you think about? Like, how do you think it's being used right now? What
I
do you
don't know,
think they're really doing?
tracking where things are going, how things are repopulating, areas that would, be useful for fishing and fishing sustainability, the fastest way for boats to move around the ocean. I mean, where sources of, I don't know, certain chemicals are coming from really deep, far underneath the ocean that might tell us more about what's happening in the deeper seas. Those are the only things I can imagine.
That was pretty comprehensive. That was pretty good. Yeah. Vanessa looks
in the
pleased.
deep ocean. That's the only stuff I can think of. But also, it would be great to get an AI robot to clean the pool every now and then as well. That would be really good, like a really good one, not one that just keeps going over the leaves. So yeah, I mean that's what I would imagine AI in the ocean are doing.
I agree with you. It's very similar to the land. For the arts, I don't want them to do the fun stuff. I want to do the fun stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I want
right?
you to load my dishwasher.
Exactly. I mean, the exploitation of AI is what I love AI. I love the idea of AI. It's the people behind it that I absolutely do not trust. I did a documentary on the ABC recently about death, and there are whole companies that are set up to create a bot of you to exist as a legacy piece after you die. And you can train it over years, or you can train it over lots of big interviews where you can say all the things that happened to you in your life. You give it a full A to Z of every experience you had, so that when your kids sit down or your grandkids sit down, they can go, tell me what it was like when growing up. And your bot says, well, it was, I walked to school, and I used to go down this road, and it was like this and it was like that. And that sounds really great in theory, right? But you already know that there's going to be some, young child whose dad died when he was 2 years old, who finally grows old enough and gets to, talk to this person that he's got so many questions for, that this lost life and youth that he would love to understand and know more of, and he'll sit down opposite this bot of his dad who he doesn't know anything about and say, tell me what it was like. How did you feel when you saw me getting born? And the bot will say, I will tell you that as soon as you try these Ray-Ban sunglasses on. It'll make your day so much brighter. And if you want to hear the full story, you buy the primo version of me, your dad. You know what I mean? And that will 100,000,000% happen. And I hate the idea of the people behind this doing everything they can to just squeeze us.
It's not the AI, it's the humans behind it.
Yeah.
It's always us, isn't it? Oh, thank you so much,
Anyways,
Matt. I
that's
really
just me.
appreciate it. And now let's bring it deep into the ocean with wildlife biologist, author, science communicator, and museum research associate, Dr. Vanessa Pirotta. Hi, Vanessa. Thank you. Who is also frequently on your television as she keeps us up to date with what migrating whales up and down our coast, all their trials and tribulations.
Yes, there are many.
Which is great. Now, Vanessa, how are biologists and ecologists applying AI to understanding marine species and environments?
Well, when it comes to, naturally I'll gravitate towards whales, but when it comes to whales, gone are the days where you still do this. You get an underwater microphone called a hydrophone, plonk, feed it down, and then, and then you'd go back to your computer screen and you go, okay, I can see this and then this. But with AI, you can have computers look at it and go, there's a pattern here, there's a pattern here. Oh, so-and-so said this last year. That's what it means. So it's helping us understand the data that we've always been collecting, just in a more efficient way. And that goes back to the medical component. So breast cancer checks, I've heard that that's been, the use of AI. I'm a whale scientist, I don't know about that. But just it's helping us see the information we gathered or weren't able to interpret properly in a more efficient way.
And bulk data can be analyzed
bulk
much
data,
faster.
Oh my gosh. So in the ocean, it's big. We know more about the world above us than we do about the sea. So that's why I'm always talking about the need to learn more about the ocean, which is so important. But yes, there's so much data that comes out of the ocean that we just don't necessarily have research assistants to deal with. We need bulk interpretation. And so that can be really helpful. But also, the skills that we have as scientists should never fade away. We need those skills because we need to interpret the information in the most appropriate way. And I too am a little bit afraid of AI when it comes to those kind of things. I think we need a Professor Ball with us all the time to go, that's BS, that's all right. But we don't have you all the time unless we just pay for that. A Cath GPT. $9.90 a month, US or AU? So I'm still interpreting it, but I'm really lucky. I feel personally privileged to have gone through university and done all I've had without AI because I'm a little old school. I prefer not using it. Yeah. But then also I'm like, well, I've written this 10 times. How can you rewrite this and make me sound better? And it works. So I see the benefits, but I'm very cautious here sitting in how we interpret information from the ocean. And a lot of this and the questions that we want to ask requires investment. And investment in marine research in Australia is pretty bad.
So AI can really overcome a lot of those
challenges.
Well, we hope.
Some.
Yeah. And so as a marine scientist, did you ever think that you would be using AI?
I never thought I'd be using AI. And I can tell you a very bizarre way is because when I finished my PhD in 2019, I said no to a postdoctoral position in Canada because I wanted to stay here and, do the things, whatever you have to do, have your carbs. And one of the jobs that I was working on, and I still am now the chief scientist on, this is my other job, that did involve whales. I know, can you believe it? Whales don't pay much, just letting you know. So it was essentially using AI to detect illegal wildlife trafficking. I never in a million years thought that I would be doing that. And so now I'm sitting here saying that my team and I, Taronga Zoo, Rapiscan Systems and the Department of Environment, Federal, have created world-first detection algorithms for the detection of lizards, birds and fish in male pathways. And we've evolved that research with a marine focus, which I can't talk about because it's under review right now. So the process is long, but I never thought I'd be using AI. I'm not yet using AI. Well, actually, I am using AI for whale research. We can tell the difference between Jack or Jenny the whale by using its tail flukes. So every whale has a unique tail. Let's just talk humpback whales, it's very easy. And every single whale tail is like a fingerprint. Each are different. And so using AI via a platform called Happy Whale, you're able to take a photo of your whale tail and luckily they can go, yep, this is this whale, this is that whale. Or this is a whale that was seen in East Antarctica, you've now seen it over here. It's amazing. We used to do that just by looking at it.
The photographs.
That's right, but with AI it's easier. And so AI is now helping us as well understand Brutus whales in Australian waters, which are a really unknown whale that have a pointy mouth and they've got dorsal fins like dolphins. And we're using that to help us understand and create the first catalogue of Brutus whales.
So it really speeds up
Which is
research.
Very exciting. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I just seen people I know. I need AI as well to go.
They understand what you're talking about.
That's
they
right.
know. The wildlife tracking, that's phenomenal research. Now, that wouldn't be possible without AI technology?
AI is helpful in terms of interpreting the data. As we sit here right now, we have, well, I don't, but like, for example, my friend Dr. Clive McMahon in Antarctica, who's not in Antarctica right now, has elephant seals with data loggers on their head right now in Antarctica collecting oceanographic data. They're going around, coming up, having a fight, then feeding, then having a sleep. All of these things are happening right now. I personally don't have any tags out on whales, but there would be tags and tagged whales right now swimming around. And we're kind of at a point where a lot of the questions we ask as scientists, it has to go through ethics. So are you okay to place this on a whale, getting close with a boat, embedding something into an animal, where science is kind of like going away from that. So the questions we ask may really come about through visual interpretation, so data collection through vision, through acoustic detection, and then AI will be really strong in that capacity.
I get it. So you're minimizing the physical interference with the animal through using AI.
Yes. That's a great, and you've just nailed that. Well done.
Okay. That's something that the scientific community is a big fan of.
Yes.
Great. I get it, everyone. Yeah.
Yes. You get a fish.
That's That's fantastic. So I'll ask you the same question that I asked Kath. AI, anti or pro?
Can I be a fence sitter?
Yes.
Because I know
You just have to explain why.
AI is literally helping us as Australia protect our wildlife through the ability to detect illegal wildlife trafficking. Yeah. And that's thanks to AI. It can help us work out the difference between a banana and a lizard really efficiently. That is amazing. And then the other side of me is I'm now very much a proud university lecturer at Macquarie Uni. And so that means that I would hope that those students don't rely on AI too much, because we want them to be really good students in the future and we don't want them to be cheating and doing things like that. So I've got to be, we like AI, but it must be used in when it needs to be used.
Yeah. Informed use.
Informed use.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Appreciate it. Now, we are going to have a couple of questions here, obviously. So what we've done is we've had a chat about the current state of play. We've talked about how we use AI currently in different areas of research. And now we're going to go back, take a big circle back to Kath's original introduction and look to the future. So I would like to start out by talking about, can AI talk whale, and all those slightly exciting and terrifying things that you mentioned. And as Kath mentioned, there are global scientific groups like Project SETI that are using AI to decode whale language. So that's sort of like I could be Aquaman and talk to a fish. So let's chat all together about the real-life ramifications that we can see in cross-species communication, because we don't really have that yet. I mean, my cat doesn't really know what I'm saying. So what happens if your whale knows what you're saying, Vanessa?
So when you talk about that, it's all really cool to know what whales are saying, but as a scientist, I'm sitting here going, that's really good, but we've got a whale in Victorian waters right now that's entangled in fishing gear that needs to be helped. We've got all these other pressing issues that probably don't seem as cool, but I, as a scientist, it frustrates me. We need to help. We need to work on practical solutions right now. Working with fishers, working with the shipping industry to try and minimise entanglement or ship strike, acoustic pollution, all these problems that we don't think about. And here, as a scientist, I'm going, decoding what they're saying, or if you can, is really cool.
Yeah.
But I personally, my jam is to kind of help out the animals.
It's not
that we
a priority.
have here.
Until you've got like 10,000 whales all going, yo, clean up your humans. It's like so much rubbish here right now. Clean up.
Yeah, they could say that.
That's what I would be saying if I was a whale.
What do you
I'd be
think
like,
they'd
hey,
be
you guys
saying?
want to meet my cousin Ed? Oh, you can't because he got killed by whalers. That's what I would say if I was a whale. I'd be like, bro, why did you call me sperm? That's what I would say. Why did you call? I don't look anything like it.
Did you know what sounds they make, the sperm whales?
I don't want to know.
They make the loudest sound in the animal world, louder than a 747 taking off, over
really?
240 decibel.
How far can you hear it?
Well, it depends. So that's high frequency sound. High frequency sound is high but travels shorter. Low frequency sound.
So they go.
No, it's like
That actually translates to. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that so quickly.
Get it. This you would love this.
That's sperm whale
the humpback
talk.
whales that sing.
Sorry, it's not usually that sensitive. That's what they. That's what
dear.
The
stands
humpback
for.
whales that sing a song, it's only the males.
Yeah.
And the song they sing this year is really cool, but it's kind of like the hottest 100. Next year won't be cool here.
Have they got a new song every year? That's
The males will change their sexual repertoire in calling the ladies.
so that's like a crooning kind of thing.
Keep it fresh. It's interesting though, because legally, if you think about the frameworks, what would actually provide protection to the whales that are entangled is personhood. And so legally, personhood of non-humans is something we're already seeing. We've seen representation of rivers, representation of particular areas of nature, and now we're also almost about to have personhood given to certain whale species. And a lot of this is actually coming from Indigenous knowledge and Indigenous empowerment of legal frameworks. So if you actually think to unentangle a whale, it's not a moral question, it's a financial one.
That's true as well.
And so if you could turn a financial imperative into rescuing Fred, our mate, who's trapped in there, that will actually, who insures the whales? Who insures the entanglement? And so welcome to a brand new paradigm of wildlife insurance and species insurance and asset insurance and the redrawing of borders, because as soon as someone is given legal personhood, you have habeas corpus. And as soon as you have habeas corpus, mate, you've got lawyers. And as soon as you've got lawyers, you've got money. And as soon as you've got money, you've got insurance. And as soon as you've got insurance, you've got finance. And then the fintech bros are in town. And then suddenly a whale that's entangled in Victoria is worth something, not morally, worth something economically, not as a nice to have, but as a pain if you don't look after it. And it's the carrot and stick debate that we have heard about Mother Nature and the valuing of Mother Nature's services since I wrote my PhD thesis like 20 odd years ago. How do you value ecosystem services, or how do you value a whale? You have to give it some kind of economic benefit transfer value. If you can't do that by its ecosystem services, you do it by how much you're going to be fined if you hurt one.
Which is what we're trying to do across the entire ocean.
But that's interesting
right
because
now.
because what we have a national and international obligation to protect our native flora and fauna. So we actually need to do that anyway, but it's not. It's a case. Well, there's no money for marine research. We know that. The other thing I run is the Tongan whale tourism project in the Kingdom of Tonga, because what you're talking about is essentially an asset coming to a place to migrate that people will pay a lot of money to swim with. But if we keep wanting to swim with whales and we don't necessarily ensure the sustainability and longevity of it, are we killing the golden goose?
Now, you work with Colossal Biosciences that I'm a huge fan of, right? You know the team there at Colossal very nicely. One of the first things I talked to Peter Diamandis and some of the crew about when they were looking at financing Colossal a few years ago was, what is going to make you money? What's the point of bringing back a thylacine? What's the point of bringing back a woolly mammoth? What's going to make the money? And the first answer that I heard from a lot of folks around the table was zoo fees. Now, if I cross-pollinate that with when I was at the CES, this large technology show in Las Vegas last month, they already have direct ear-to-ear, like something out of Star Trek, direct language translation. So you could be speaking Italian to me, and I could be speaking English to you, and I would be hearing the English, and you would be hearing the Italian, and it's live. So now imagine your Tongan tourists in 10 years' time will have earbuds in, talking to Jen, talking to Jack, talking to Jeremy, all of the whales, and they will be hearing their whale song back in language.
Can I just say that as someone in the film industry who has been in a show called H2O, Just Add Water.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, dolphin actors, terrible. Never follow instruction. So to be able to go, yo, do this and do that and then that, I mean, that would be incredible.
Directors will
Free
be all over
Willy,
it.
That's
everyone.
a benefit
All over
then.
it. Benefit. So but this is like the cross-pollination of some of these technologies will come down to some of the legal questions we're having now about whales and their protection and their value, and it will actually start putting dollar values on things. And I hate to say it, but that's the world that we live in.
But then who will own the personhood of a whale?
No, they own it. It's habeas corpus.
Okay,
they own
so
their
they
own
own
body.
their own, but then there's going to be like whale influencers
Yes.
who are up there, and then
Ciali.
like who's gonna
Migaloo is already a whale influencer.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. All right, so
It's one of those things. It's like, what's the best that could happen,
What's the best that can
and
happen?
what's
is
the worst
protection,
that could
isn't it?
happen if we can speak to animals currently living in the sea? You each have to answer.
I'm just going to quote, I think it might have been Paul McCartney or somebody that said if the slaughterhouses had, microphones where you could hear the animals and they were speaking to you and screaming at you in English, would you still eat meat?
Probably
And
not.
look, I'm a meat eater, so I'm just going to say, but but I have been a vegan, and I'm all over the place, but there's ways in which if we can actually physically have a conversation with a sentient being that can show that's going to change the foundation of society as we know it right now. That will upset every single foundation stone we have about what it means that Homo sapiens is on the top of the pyramid. We're not on the top of the pyramid. Those of us that work in nature realise we're part of the biocentricity. But for us to be knocked off that pedestal, that's going to cause...
A little bit of humbly.
well, we always just assume that it's about what we can say to the animals and what they can say to us. We don't assume that what we're going to create is going to get them to be able to conspire against us as a separate thing.
They already are.
It's not what we can say to whales, it's what whales can say to turtles. Like, yo, Give me a lift up onto that beach. I'm going to, I'm going to
Those
take on the
orcas in the
humans.
Mediterranean. So there were some young orca lads. Give them a name if you want. Some young orca lads.
White Gladys is a female, and
Right.
one of them.
And one of them, yep. And so they got annoyed because their mother was killed by a yacht. And so what they do now is they're attacking all the posh yachts. They're going for all the super yachts.
But wait. Are they doing that deliberately? See, this is a thing.
How can we prove it? Imagine now they say, yeah, we're going for them.
I've
It's
spoken
because
to
they've
guys
got
there.
their hashtag eat the rich on their side.
No, but when they bite the rudder off a boat, because the boat makes a sound, the rudder moves, they bite it off, and then it stops and they go away. So from a behavioural point of view, is it just that, are they jilted, or is it just the ultimate toy?
We have to ask them and find out.
We have to ask them and find out. But it's like the pod of orcas off of Los Angeles that learnt. Did you know this? If I was to say to you, what's going to win, a great white shark or an orca? What would you say would win?
I feel like this is a trick question, so I'm going to say orca.
Very good answer. So orcas figured out that they could turn great white sharks upside down and eat their liver. And when they eat the liver, the oil from the liver, correct me if I'm wrong, Don, the oil from the liver goes so far across the water that you then don't see a great white shark pretty much all season there.
It's very clever.
Now, this is really interesting to me, but maybe not to you. There's an article that just came out a few weeks ago in January 2026 that asked the fundamental question, do you think we can fully trust what AI says when the health of the ocean is at stake?
How we provide AI with information. Is this right? Tell me, like when we...
Yes and no, there's a thing called synthetic data.
Oh gosh, it's going over my head. Wait, hold it.
If we can't fill the gaps, the AI fills the gaps.
But we don't know much about the ocean. Like honestly, we don't. So how can we input, it doesn't have the information to make those decisions. Don't trust it yet.
I think it depends on the question that you're asking and who's asking it and which platform it's asking it on. If it's an open source, white labeled, an ability for everyone to disagree with it and interrogate it, and public discourse and researchers are going at it, it's very different to saying, here's an app that you click on and you scan this and it will tell you this. AI is a term for like 1,000 different things. And so you do have to hone your question slightly down, in that I think AI could be dangerous to make large conversations, but also at the moment the number of people that don't trust the basic planetary data that we've been telling them about, like the amount of people that don't agree that climate change is real, and even though all of the scientists pretty much think that we know that climate change is an anthropogenic climate change is a real thing, and that's before AI even came into the equation. So I guess maybe how can AI help decipher some of that information to convince those who aren't certain, because they don't understand large data, to be able to ask easier questions of those data sets.
But sometimes it's even stuff. I was using ChatGPT. I downloaded ChatGPT for my dad for his phone. I was showing him how to use it, and I was like, "Look, it's great. What time's the next bus going from down the road?" And it got it wrong. But that's the most obvious. Like it's so easy to find that information. And ChatGPT's like, it doesn't leave till 6:59 tonight. And I'm like, no, that's wrong. And so like, how, if it can't tell me when the bus is going to leave, how the hell is it going to know what a whale is saying? Like that's, how am I going to trust it?
Yeah.
Hey, what did that whale say? And they'll be like, oh, the whale likes your new hat. And I'll be like, cool, thanks, whale. The whale's like, what the hell? I didn't say that shit, bro. Hate that hat.
Well, I won't keep you guys in suspense. Their the conclusion is that yes, sort of, it helps heaps with data and stuff, but we're worried about transparency, validation, ethical alignment, misuse of data, da-da-da. So the answer is, of course, yeah, we like it because it helps us out, but also, we're super scared about these frameworks.
Your problem with what you gave your dad was you got him a free version, and quite frankly, the Transport New South Wales version is always wrong anyway.
This is the problem. You're going to have to pay for everything.
But since when did you expect to pay for anything for free? Like every single piece of software is developed and built by human hand and built by human businesses.
You used to be able to call up TransLink and say, hey, when's the next bus?
And that was paid for by your taxes. That was paid for by another mechanism.
I think we should be also considering, like, what is the worst that can happen and how can this be used against us? And like, you'd have to assume that it would be like, how will this be used in a sense of warfare? How are people going to be able to poison waterways and take away keystone animals from, environmental groups or whatever to really wage havoc on people.
Have we seen a fake stranding yet, or a fake entrapment yet?
I've seen fake whale interactions.
For what purpose?
And people are sending it to me going, wow, look at this. And I'm like,
This is it, disinformation and misinformation. So when people create fake videos, sometimes you can see where the label is on some of the video software, and we don't have some of the video software in Australia yet, so a lot of this is coming out of the United States. I'm really interested that you've actually even experienced
I've received
that.
2 this week.
Great.
But
And
what
I'm
what's the purpose?
it's AI slop for social media.
And the behaviour of the whales doesn't correlate to what's happening. So I'm like, this is just weird.
So you can tell, Vanessa.
I can tell as a whale scientist, I'm like, what the hell is a sperm whale doing with all these kids? And it's like opening its mouth, and I'm like, is it dead? But no, people are interacting with it. That's not sperm whale behaviour.
I saw a video just the other day of like someone who'd found these 2 little things in her backyard, and she nursed them to life, and they were sugar gliders, and it was this sweet thing. And I was like, oh, okay. I look in the comments, everyone's like slop. And I was like, man, I believed it. I was like, oh my God, I'm old.
The post-truth is interesting, and look, we've seen this after some pretty hideous stuff. We've seen it after bushfires, we've seen it even after the attack in Bondi, fake videos being generated. And so when we think about the ocean side of the disinformation and misinformation conversation, I am surprised it's only 2 things that you have been sent, because we're at this start where people are taking things that are genuine truths and twisting them and doing it for clicks and doing it for shares and likes. And this is the problem of the monification and the incentivization for people to just produce content that gets interaction rather than verifying what the content is. So I actually say that is a clear and present danger, is not just the accidental hallucination of like generative AI systems, but the purposeful misdirection and misinformation created using AI slop.
So what's our 1 sentence only recommendation for the future of AI in your area?
Take it with a grain of salt. Remember, we have experts in this field. Consult the experts.
In terms of the future of AI from my sort of like large data space ocean futures perspective, this might be the most powerful technology that we have ever got our hands on. Please tear it to pieces.
In a good way or a bad way?
In a great way. Put it to bits. Put it to bits. Find where it breaks. And write to your MP the fact that we don't have decent funding for sovereign AI in Australia. Write to your MP tomorrow, send an email.
And marine research.
And more money for marine research. On that note, sunshine.
Oh, man.
Take us out.
I'm just going to say what I said before. Sharks, we cool. That's all I got to say. So I'm going to get that tattooed on me or something. That's all I think about at AI and everything. Seriously,
the jellyfish sensor system.
So, jellyfish. Yep. I just want it to be known that I had nothing against any animals in the ocean. I've always been a fan of them all, and I've also always been a fan of AI. I know this is going on YouTube. There's going to be some bot learning it. I'm cool with you, AI, robots. I've always been a fan of yours, and remember me.
Thank you all so much. That was so much fun. Now, please join me in thanking our wonderful panelists, our program sponsors, our partners, the Minderoo Foundation. Thank you all so much, and thank yourselves as well for coming tonight.
Thank you, Emily.